Hey guys, Marshall from Limited Resources, and yeah, it's time to draft. Doing a little DGM here. Let's see what we open up. Okay, nice pack. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Render Silent is our rare, though I probably wouldn't call it a highlight. Slightly worse than Cancel, probably. I don't think that the white and the mana cost outweighs its other ability. A lot of times people are only playing one spell per turn in Limited anyway. Not awful, but not a first pick. Unflinching Courage, Haunter of Nightveil, and Tidedrinker are all cards that I would consider here. Fatal Fumes as well, since it is removal. I'm definitely going to take Unflinching Courage, though. I think it's the most powerful of these spells, and that really says something. I'm not one who's a big fan of an aura. I don't love taking the extra risk of putting creature-based auras on my guys and getting 2-for-1, but Unflinching Courage exceeds the threshold under which I will do such things. And I suppose the second Unflinching Courage also does the same. They do start to get worse the more you have, but I'm definitely taking the second one here. A lot of good cards in this pack as well. There's another Fatal Fumes we see here. Runner's Bane's quite good. Windrake's fine. Armed and Dangerous, very powerful. And Species Scourger, also quite powerful, though you have to kind of set it up properly. Wow, okay. Looks like we have an easy first few picks here. I'm going to take Tristani Summoner here. The card's basically a bomb. I mean, if you read it, you get a 1/1, a 2/2, a 3/3, and a 4/4. So that's 10 power and 10 toughness. Some of it has trample, some of it has vigilance. And it's just really hard at 7 mana. You know, one of the things that I look for in my bombs that I'm really focused on to really push it over the top, especially if I'm going to pay 7 mana, is the ability to stabilize a board that I was behind on, so that I can just eke myself up to 7 and then feel like, okay, I've got some breathing room, and Tristani Summoner is one of the few bombs that does that. If it wasn't that, I'd probably just take the Mastiff. We're going to hope to wheel this Cluestone. Okay, I'm going to take the Snare Squad out of this pack. I think it's just the best card in the pack. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, I think it's just the best card in the pack, period. I'd love to be able to just stay in Selesnya as well, set us up for the for an awesome Return to Ravnica pack. Maze Behemoth is okay too. The Guildgate potentially is something we could look at picking, but I think Snare Squad's good, so let's just take it. Okay, so we're going to take our first dip into another color here, probably, as I don't really want to take a Steeple Rock or Awake the Reflections right now. I'm going to take Give and Take. So this hedges our bets a bit, which means we're not moving all in on blue, green, white. Hey, we might end up being blue, green, white. We might end up being 5 colors, who knows? But we can certainly play Give just as a 3 mana, put 3+1/+1 counters on a creature. We're starting to push the boundaries a little bit of where I want to be with 2 Unflinching Courages and a Give. but that being said, I think it's still totally fine. Ooh, okay, so now we actually are forced to make a decision here. As Armored Wolf Rider has really impressed me. For a guy with a bunch of flavor text, he's pretty darn good. He certainly wears these Unflinching Courage as well. But Zerta Druid, in my opinion, is one of the premier commons in this set, and it's probably a pretty reasonable reason to go into red, white, green, which is, you know, Naya is a totally viable, totally reasonable color triplet here. So I'm going to take this over the 5-drop. Yeah, we're rewarded for our decision as we pick up a First Blade or a Mastiff. They both actually deserve some consideration here. Really tough, actually, because the Mastiff is a 2-drop, and I really want 2-drops. That being said, Viashino First Blade is a really nice attacker. You know, I am just going to go with the Mastiff here, though. I'm going to kind of limit my exposure a bit, and I'm going to take the 2-drop here that can wear this Unflinching Courage and also just keeps our mana as best as humanly possible. I feel like I'm giving up some power by doing that, but I'm willing to do that to keep the consistency there. I'm going to take this Gatekeepers for this pick. the Maze Rusher, the Riot Control, the Gruul War Chant. You know, Weapon Surgeon, War Chant are fine. Maze Rushers, you could do worse. But I want to keep it simple here and try to stay as green-white as I can. All right, this is an easy pickup for us here as we're going to slam this Gruul Cluestone that we had opened. This is going to give us access to a red splash, and I'm really hoping that our red is going to be a splash. That's, again, another reason why I took it. Now, a little awkward that Zerta Druid is a red and potentially a splash, but that card's really good, and I still think it's worth it. I'm going to take the Sunspire Gatekeepers here. If we pick up a bunch of gates, then we do. If we don't, I don't think I'm going to run the Cluestone here. I'm not really going to be focusing on the take aspect here. I mean, it's always possible. All right, sweet. So we hit this. This is what I really wanted. We'll take it. Not much here really in the way of anything. We could just cut a Riot Piker. This doesn't do anything. None of these really do anything. I guess I'll just cut a Mind Static here. Nothing really here either. I'm going to hide this Wake the Reflections for now, but we're not going to forget it, hopefully. Because that could come in handy. I'll take a Liev Decree. I'm going to hide that as well for now, just because it's not a card that I really am looking to run. Sure, it can have a profound effect on the board, but it can also be quite bad. It's kind of a card that's good when you're winning and pretty darn mediocre when you're behind. So not that it's like a blank, but it's not an exciting card in those situations. Like, I'd much rather just have a Boros Mastiff over it, for example. But we'll remember it's in there, and we're not gonna exclude it from possibility here. Okay, we got a pack here. Lots of good stuff. It's a pretty easy pick for us, though. We're going to be taking Gore-Clan Rampager. Fine on the splash. Just an excellent Magic card. Ooze Flux, great card in the set. Unfortunately, we don't really have any way to do anything with it, and we probably won't. Boros Charm, also an excellent card, but Gore-Clan Rampager for sure. Otherwise, we'd take the Greenside Watcher probably. Just taking a quick look here, just for the 2-drop, but Rampager's awesome. And certainly in line with what we're trying to do here. Remember, this is the Gatecrash pack, so this is the pack where we're going to be seeing more Gruul cards, so we have to kind of temper out how we want to do that, because in the last pack we're gonna get a crack at a Gruul and Boros. In the last pack we're gonna get a crack at Celestia. So we'll see what happens. I mean, sometimes you just got to kind of go with what's there. But this is kind of our big pack. Oof. Okay. Well, there's a lot of good cards here. Scar Goliath is pretty decent. Homing Lightning is probably the best card in the pack. It's up there at least. Balustrade Spy is excellent. Smite's good. I'm just going to take Krakenura here, though. The reason I'm not taking Homing Lightning is I just don't want to be double red with a bunch of red-green spells in my deck. Yeah, I like Homing Lightning a lot, but Krakenura is awesome. And I think it's just like a very solid sort of middle type pick, and I'm happy to pick it up. Similar reasoning. Wojak Halberdiers is better than Ivy Lane Denizen probably, but we have a lot of green creatures, I think. Well, I know actually we only got a couple. No, I've got a few. Some of these are green too, so I'm just going to take the Denizen here over Verdant Haven or Halberdiers. Well, not a lot coming to us here, unfortunately. Simic Charm, pretty easily the best card in this pack. Otherwise, I'm taking the Gargoyle here. I don't think I really want an active Treason in this deck. Yeah, I guess I'll have to just take the Gargoyle. There's the best chance that we run that over the other stuff. Looks like we're getting cut pretty hard. I think our third pack should be really good for us, but we're going to take the Watcher out of this one. It looks like green's getting cut a bit. Or a lot. Okay. Not a lot going on here. I'm going to take the Rust Scarab over the Commandos. I like the Rust Scarab quite a bit. And with 2 Cluestones, having a solid 5-drop like that is pretty nice. Yeah, man, I really don't want to take a Snapjaw over a Halberdiers here, so I'm just going to take the Halberdiers. Normally, you know, you could maybe hedge and take Skinbrand Goblin, but we're going to be in white no matter what, so might just have to concede that we're going to be that the splash is going to be a little bigger than I want. Right now it's only 3 red cards, which is pretty reasonable, but yeah. Really want these 2-drops to be filled out. Zarichi Tiger or Denizen? Probably just the Denizen. I don't think I want a Ruination Worm here. Let's take the Denizen. Still no gates, unfortunately. That would have been a nice place to pick up gates. You know, sometimes when you're getting cut by a couple people in the second pack, they'll take the good cards over the gates, and even if you're not getting the card quality that you want, you'll get the gates. All right, well, I guess when they give you that, you just take it. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be pushing over into that. Now, there is a chance though that we don't, because I will remind you of what I said before about the third pack. It should have a lot of Celestia stuff in it for us, so we might be able to hedge down on these a little bit. But yeah, if we don't, we don't. Okay, so let's see how this last pack goes. We're going to have a decent deck either way. All right, what do we get? Bunch of good stuff. None of it is particularly great in our colors. Corpse Jack Menace is awesome, especially in triple. He got a lot better. Void Wielder, Ogre Jailbreaker, sweet. Dramatic Rescue's good. I like a lot of these cards, but it's really just Rhino and Slime Molding, I think, for us, and I'm going to take Slime Molding pretty easily here. I think Slime Molding's really good. It's nice when you have Clue Stones, too, because sometimes you flood a little bit, and you can just power out this massive ooze token. Yeah, it's not a particularly exciting first pick out of our next pack, but all right. Well, Abrupt Decay is a nice piece of removal, but it's not something that we can really use. How much is it worth? I don't think it's worth much, but we'll double check. It's worth a couple of tickets, but I think I can pass on it. I'm probably just going to take an Eyes in the Skies here. Really hoping to get 2-drops, but haven't seen any yet. Not a big fan of Slitherhead, so yeah, we'll take an Eyes in the Skies here. Well, there's a Centaur's Herald, which is kind of like a 2-drop if you average it out. No, not really. But we're going to take it. Sucks to pass. I mean, there's just good cards in this pack like this guy, but we're going to take a Herald here, and it's fine. Like, it's not a card that you're excited about. Well, I was going to take another Centaur's Herald, but we probably really just need a Tristani's Judgment. We don't have any removal yet, and you just kind of need it. All right, well, I guess I'll just take this over another random 4-drop or a random 3-drop. Kind of weird to see that there. No gates so far, so both of these gatekeepers are potentially not even in the deck. I'm just going to take this Concordia Pegasus here because I just feel like we need to lock down the early game. Towering Indrik, yeah, that guy seems good. He can replace the Ceruli Gatekeepers. I'm going to cut this other Gatekeepers here too. Having 0 fixing is getting very nerve-wracking at this point. I'll take an Electricry, I guess. If we cut a bunch of these red spells, then we're going to be short on playables a little bit, as this last pack has just been, geez, these packs have just been bad for us. I think that everybody is, it's kind of weird because we got past it on Flinching Courage. It doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't take something along those lines, but it feels like we're getting cut from both sides here, as while we do have a decent amount of playables, these are pretty unexciting early picks here, you know. I'm going to take the Dramatic Rescue this time. But I think this is 22, and we could still use another playable here probably to because I don't mind playing 18 lands, but 17 and 2 clue stones is pretty close to 18, and I'd prefer to do that and just have the Druid and the Rampager be our splashes. The Druid, like I said before, is a little bit awkward of a splash just because it really is best earlier in the game. But it still does things later in the game. And sometimes you just get your... Well, in this case, you get your mountain. Because we don't have any gates. I'll probably run that steam vents just to randomly hit this and this. Yeah, why not, right? Not much here. There's an Elmer. I guess we'll just take the Elmer. Crank up the 7 drops. One a little better than the other, but... Centering growth for the board. Still wouldn't mind another playable here, as Elmer's kind of... right now he's probably in, but... not that exciting. Greenside Watcher, just a 2-1. I don't think we had the opportunity for a gate, though. Somebody really was going for him. This card's pretty tough for us to deal with. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to run that Dynacharge anyway. Alright. Well, we made a magic deck, but I have to say it is lacking a bit. It's got angles of attack, but it doesn't have too many removal spells. And usually, when you don't have too many removal spells, your creatures are awesome, and ours are merely good. They're fine. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, pretty boring, very boring. Okay, whatever. I mean, these guys just aren't. This is meh. This guy's pretty good, but again, it's more like solid mid-range, type guy. Snare Squad 2. Same with this one. This is our only like really good creature. This and the Summoner. Otherwise, we have like the most boring creatures possible, I think. Everything's vanilla. So we'll see. We might be able to push through some wins with this thing, though. Our mana should be pretty good, even though we are splashing. We still didn't overreach, I don't think. I got to see if I want to run Wake the Reflections, too. We might actually just run that. Could run a Boros Charm. I kind of like Boros Charm a bit here, as it's a pretty nice combat trick when you've got like 2 of these in your deck, and it certainly doesn't have to be a turn 2 play. So I think we might splash that too. Where's our give take? There it is, and that's 23. All right, so if that's 23, how many token producers do we have? We've got this, not really producer, sort of. All right, so not really enough, I guess, to include Wake the Reflections. Liev Decree feels not unreasonable in this deck, but I think this is the deck that I want to run right here. Yeah, and we're going to run the Steam Vents and 2. This, I believe, is what it's going to be. This gives us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 green sources total, which we actually don't need that many, but that's fine because these ones are included. And then 7 plains plus this is 8, and then we've got 4 red sources as well, and then a random blue just for take. Okay. Let's see what it can do. It's a little dirtily, but maybe it can win.